Hour number 2 of Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Aiken. We are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio, and in that studio, Assemblyman Joe Sempolinski. Good morning, Joe. It's a somber program this morning.
Yes. Obviously, I think everybody's shaken by the assassination of Charlie Kirk in Utah, and I'd have to go think a little bit before I could think of a news story that's, sort of impacted me as emotionally as this one has. And, I've been trying to think, that last night and this morning, why. I think there's sort of 3 reasons. And one is his youth. You're talking about a guy that's 31.
31 years old.
2, I can't stop thinking about his kids. You got a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, if I got it right. They're now going to grow up without a dad.
Melania Trump's statement on that, saying that they're going to have to grow up with memories, or how did she put it, with people talking about her dad, that the memories they've created. I'm paraphrasing,
Right,
but that
yeah.
was...
And as a father of 2 young kids, that emotionally really impacted me. But I think the biggest reason why this hits home for me is what he was doing, and which is presumably the reason he was killed, is there's a guy that goes to college campuses and organizes people to stand up for their political beliefs, and he will sit there and he'll engage in debate with anybody, rich and poor, left and right. People can come to him and say, this is my position, and I think the edge of the tent that he was assassinated under said, prove me wrong.
Yeah, that's his famous tagline.
That's what he wants to do, is debate people. And that's what this country is supposed to be all about, is that we have disputes over very, very serious life or death, in some cases, issues. And we deal with it by debating and discussing and convincing and arguing and voting and campaigning for candidates. And we channel all that disagreement into nonviolent discussion and debate. And that's literally what this guy was famous for.
Yeah.
That's what he was doing when he was killed. That is what makes America the greatest society that there's ever been, is that's how we function. And so this is not just an attack on Mr. Kirk, on his family, but it's really an attack on how we do things as America, because he was, whether you agreed with anything he said or not, he was exemplary of how you're supposed to conduct yourself in public life in America, and convince people and build a coalition and build people to agree with you. And certainly I'm a Republican, I'm a conservative. He's a major voice on my side of the aisle. But it's more, to me, what bothers me is not necessarily what he said, but how he said it, and then he gets killed for it. Is really profoundly disturbing in ways I didn't fully expect, and I hope perpetual light shines on him, and I pray for his family and his kids, and it's just this is really messed up, and this cannot be where we are.
This can't be where
we
are as a society. Absolutely. Yeah, I just wanted, because I thought it was so touching what Melania said, I want to quote it exactly.
Yeah, sure.
Charlie's children will be raised with stories instead of memories, photographs instead of laughter, and silence where their father's voice should have echoed.
Right.
I mean, they're so young.
And I think I don't know how close they were to him. The reporting I saw, his family was at least at the event. They were at least on campus. I don't know if I pray to God the kids didn't witness it.
No.
And I've seen the video. I had somebody tell me, you probably shouldn't see it, and I happened to stumble across it about a minute later, and it's
I had people
shocking.
Send it to me. Thank heavens I don't have a Twitter account. Because you have to sign in, I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah, that's how I saw it. I was scrolling Twitter, and I saw him shot, and I was when I saw that, I knew it's. Yeah. I'm not a medical professional, but it was pretty clear that this was a serious situation, and I was pleasantly surprised that at first, there was reports he was stable, but where it ended up was, if you see the video, it's where you expect things like that to end up.
Horrible. Comment came in this morning, Joe, and I want to read to you since you're in the studio. I'm certain that you will be inundated by viewer comments as we're all sitting here stunned, sad, and sick about Charlie Kirk's assassination. I've been a follower of his on podcasts and been amazed by his ability to talk to people and get them engaged and stand up for his religious beliefs without apology and fear. Sure. He gave hope to our youth at a time when things are grim and gave me hope for their future as well. Joe Sempolinski made a Facebook post this evening, and please let him know it was spot on.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you did. I quit social media.
Yeah.
Almost about 3 minutes after he was there. It's vile.
Yeah. So if you
not yours.
Thank you. I thought mine was kind of thoughtful.
Yeah, yours is great.
But if you go through, you can sort of see in real time, and for something like this, it's not my staff, it's me, and sort of saying, I heard he had been shot from another member of the assembly. I was on a phone call with a fellow assemblyman, and he, did you hear Charlie Kirk was shot? And so I sort of, hey, sad things coming out of Utah. I just sort of denounced all political violence and prayed for him, and then obviously he passes, and my reaction sort of moves toward what I just said, which is this guy, all he did was talk to people, and so you can see my statement on my Facebook and on my Twitter, and the sum and substance of it is this is a guy that did everything that is right about America insofar as how he went about conducting himself politically, and was murdered for it. And you got kids that are going to grow up without a dad.
Yeah.
And so it's this is a very cowardly act by whoever did it. Mm-hmm. I hope whoever did it is very swiftly brought to justice. And
it was very difficult this morning to wake up and find out that the person of interest was released, because when I went to bed, I thought they had the person. So now
they sort of grabbed him.
Still at large.
And I've seen video where, all I know is what I see online.
Right.
So I have no inside
Take it with
knowledge
a grain of salt.
of anything. I'm reacting to this just as everybody else did. Yeah. But where you have one video where somebody sees somebody on the roof, and then there's another one where. Mm-hmm. In the pandemonium after the shot, there's sort of a guy you can just sort of see running a little bit.
I saw the roof picture. I didn't.
So presumably this is somebody that was at distance as opposed to somebody in the crowd or what have you, which raises a lot of other questions as to how professionalized is this or what have you. So I just hope that this murderer is found very quickly, and we determine how this happened and why this happened. But I can think of, I'm sure, we'll learn more in the coming days, but clearly this is a political assassination. This wasn't a random act.
And can you imagine? I know he got fired, but that Dowd from MSNBC first saying that we don't know if it was someone in the crowd celebrating.
Yeah, shooting off that was sort of an attack, I think, on people that are
pro
Second Amendment or Charlie Kirk fans that somehow it would yeehaw.
It was like an Old West saloon.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some pretty offensive stuff that's been posted on social media reacting to this, and I will give credit where credit's due. From what I've seen from liberal and Democratic leadership, it's been mostly very thoughtful. It's maybe not exactly how I would say things, but in many cases, but some of the just random people online who sort of feel the willingness to sort of say horrible things about him because they disagreed with him politically. Listen, no one should be murdered for their political beliefs, left, right, or center, whether you agree with them or disagree with them. Certainly, I agreed with Charlie more than I disagreed with him, but that's irrelevant. Mm-hmm. What's relevant is two kids don't have a dad.
Right.
And he was doing what makes America good, which is debating your ideas, and this was the exact opposite of that.
Well, and if you think about it, when he started Turning Point USA, it was right around 2012. That's when, it's probably around that time when we were being told that words are akin to violence.
Yeah, right.
So if I say something you don't like, you then, even though it's not violent, you have a right to then get violent with me.
Right.
Remember, that became very prevalent on college campuses. Yeah. So that's a little bit of what we're seeing and anecdotally on some of the social media that I saw last night. That was kind of the idea. I don't like what Charlie Kirk said or how he felt. So
Yeah,
victim blaming.
There's some perverse stuff out there that I've seen.
I've lost a lot of respect for a lot of people,
Yeah.
but I think it's a testimony to how much he accomplished in the conservative movement at just 31 years old.
Yeah, I've seen some people online referring to this as almost like a pre-presidential assassination.
Yeah.
Like this is somebody that
I saw a couple people saying that.
You know, you could imagine. You know, he certainly was not a candidate for president or anything, but you could have imagined in future decades this being the type of person because of his following that could be somebody that ran for the highest office in the land. Obviously, that's not going to happen now.
Yeah.
So I think also some of the reaction is the level of influence, especially with younger conservatives.
Look at even RFK Jr. Tweeting out some to the extent of basically comparing him to his
compared it to the death of his own father
and uncle.
And you know, this is a major political assassination because of Mr. Kirk's influence on the discussion on the discussion of our politics. Again, I come back to that. He just wanted to have a discussion, and present his opinion, and was willing to let you present yours.
He actually wanted to hear, and I always appreciate this. You could tell he wanted to hear from the people who disagreed with him a lot more than the person that got up there with the MAGA hat. And, you know, and I get it. I understand that mindset. Comment from a different viewer. Rest in peace, Charlie. The Lord will take care of your family, and we have your back. Very nice.
There you go.
Now, I want to just tell people a little disclaimer here because I've got some other questions. We are going to change from the topic. We understand the seriousness of what happened with the Charlie Kirk assassination, but to thank you, Joe, because you travel great distance to be in the studio, so it's only fair to have you in and talk about some New York State issues. So people can please, I know it's been very cathartic for all of us this morning. Please keep those comments coming in. We're going to read those comments because I understand it. I felt the same way this morning. I needed someone to talk to about it, so we will do that. But I don't want to spend the whole show on it because it's heartbreaking.
Yeah,
and we're going to be thinking about it for a long time.
This is a rough one, and this is going to have major implications on our politics and our society.
Before we go to break, I think you've been on here, Joe, when we had Karen sends in a quote of the week. So Karen, she wants to make the name Karen great again. So I thought that was very nice. So she sent one already in this week, but she sent one in, and I thought this was very appropriate. And she said, you know, she's doing it obviously because it's in honor of the life and death of Charlie Kirk. It's a quote from Charlie Kirk. It is part of our human nature to want to be liked. It's part of our human nature to worry about what others think of us. It is an attribute of greatness and of American exceptionalism to not surrender to our nature, but to be guided by an inner calling to persevere and to prevail no matter the personal cost. How appropriate this morning.
R.I.P. Charlie.
Absolutely. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking. Please stay with us. The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Heselson studio. In that studio, Assemblyman Joe Sempolinski. Joe, there's questions from viewers. Again, people can write in at any time to talk about Charlie Kirk. We'd love to. I thought this was very appropriate. It's 9/11. Never forget. And I do want to highlight, before we talk about this, that the 11th Annual Tri-County First Responder of the Year Award and the ceremony will be held today at 11 a.m. in Gang Mills at the First Responder Honor Park on the corners of South Hamilton Street and Forest Drive. I haven't missed that in probably 10
That is a great event. I've attended that several times. I was there.
You were there as Congressman.
I was there as Congressman-elect.
Oh,
actually, I hadn't actually been
mathematically
sworn in yet. I was sworn in just like a couple days later. And no, they do a great job. So if you're in the going to be in the Corning area around that time today, I would recommend going over there. It's a wonderful park they have. You can go anytime and look at it and see. It honors local first responders and what have you. So it's they do a really, really good job. It's one of the better 9/11 commemorations that are happening in the area. But just, I would say overall, obviously, this is a somber day already, but 24 years ago, what happened on 9/11? It's another thing I'm never going to forget. I was a freshman in college, and I literally, in Washington D.C., I went to college in Washington D.C. I watched the Pentagon burn with my own eyes, and because you could see it if you went up on a rooftop on campus, you could look across the river and see the Pentagon. So it's what I like to remember about 9/11 is the heroism. That's why I like the Irwin event, because it focuses on the folks responding
today
to the terrorist attack,
and the attack.
That's right, and putting their life on the line to try and save other people, and so. We remember all the victims of 9/11 today, but also we thank those who are in our community right now, fire, police, EMTs that are willing to run into catastrophic situations to try and save others. We've got certainly heroes among us in all of our communities, and especially those who do it as volunteers. I want to highlight that. I obviously have great respect for those who are in the paid service, but also I want to highlight the folks. There are folks in our communities that run into burning buildings because they just think it's
for their love of their community and their neighbors. Yeah. But that is an amazing ceremony. If you have an opportunity to make it, I plan on attending as well. We are going to, again, it's a heavy show this morning. We're not going to deny it, but we do have some things we have to talk about because what's been very popular, and one of the viewers wants to ask about, and it will tie in with it, which is a natural gas ban. Yeah. How has the 2024 World Energy Tour went? With you and Phil Collins?
So
do you have concert T-shirts?
Everybody knows this. Frank had texted me a few days ago scheduling which day I'm going to be on the show, and what we thought we were going to be talking about was energy, because there's been a lot of attention of it over the last week or so because NYSERDA, the state energy development arm, has been doing public hearings about the draft energy plan, which is the plan for the state for its energy future, and the person who has you get the concert T-shirt with all the names on the back of the locations is Mr. Palmisano.
Yes.
So my friend Phil is our ranker in the Assembly on Energy, and so the first of these hearings was in Buffalo, and so Phil, texted me, said, "Oh, you should come up to Buffalo and testify and be at the press conference." So I go up, and then Phil tells me he's going to all of them. He's going to Buffalo, Rochester, Albany, whatever. I think the Albany one was yesterday. And so he is very diligent in his role as energy ranker. And when I went up there and what I testified to, and you can again see that on my social media, some of my commentary on it, there's a lot of concerns about how this is going to impact ratepayers, changes in how we handle energy and over the next coming years. And the worry I have is you have people, especially in my district, very rural, that are just above the poverty line, that are living paycheck to paycheck, and they can't absorb a massive increase in rates, and they're certainly not going to see the benefits in the way that I think some of my colleagues on the left are talking about them, because they're talking about the very broad societal benefits, but you're the one that's got to pay up front. Now, I will give credit where credit's due. I'm pleased that the state is moving toward increasing embrace of nuclear power. I think it's because they realize they can't hit their energy production goals
not even close.
Without it. So that's something that is a positive. What is being specifically referred to is starting next year, and this is already the law on the books, that if you're building new construction, you can't have natural gas. We had a bill go through the legislature this year. There's what's been practiced for many years is the 100-foot rule.
Yeah.
So if you are getting a new gas hookup, presumably if you combine it with the law about no new construction, this would be a new gas hookup on existing construction because the other's already been banned. But if you're within 100 feet of the existing gas infrastructure, the utility has to hook you up for free. The law that has been passed in the legislature would say that, this is this year's law, that you would have to pay for that. And so the goal of all this is really to choke off the growth of the gas infrastructure. And so, this is in my district, this is a life or death issue. And we simply don't produce enough juice to electrify everything. We don't have the network, the transmission lines to transmit that energy. And when the power goes out in a blizzard, you want to be able to keep from freezing to death.
There's a reason why hospitals are exempt, right?
Right. Yeah.
For safety.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so if you have exemptions there for safety, why can't everybody be exempt for safety? So when it comes to energy, this has been my position for decades. If you want an electric car, go buy an electric car. If you want to put solar panels on the roof of your house, put solar panels on the roof of your house. You want to burn, wood in a stove, burn wood in a stove. Do what you want to do. But don't force communities and don't force people into a particular thing for particular, political purposes. And if the market produces cleaner, greener energy that is cost effective and does the job, people will purchase it. Yeah. And it will happen organically, and it will happen without Big Brother telling you what to do. And so my position is for freedom. My position's for safety. My position's for protecting the ratepayer, the little guy that's just trying to pay his energy bill and keep his lights on and feed his kids. I don't want to, hurt that person. No. So we've got some misguided people directing the state's energy policy in a very misguided way. And I went and expressed those beliefs of my constituents. I spoke for my constituents at the Buffalo hearing. And if you're a constituent of Mr. Palmisano, you're very well represented because he's going to every hearing. Yeah. And all across the state. He's on the full tour, and I greatly admire Phil. Phil's like my big brother for his passion in taking very seriously his role as our lead on energy in our conference.
Yeah. He does a great job. Listen to this, Joe, just as we talk about kind of the failed policies coming from Albany. This was on Drudge Report this morning. U.S. warns hidden radios may be embedded in solar-powered highway infrastructure. This is not the first time that this has happened. This is from Reuters. It's not, but they said some of these solar panels had technology from China when they looked over the blueprint that there was pieces in there that weren't supposed to be there as some type of way to like shut down the grid. You know how there's been the hacking of like
concern is because it's Chinese produced that they're sort of baking into it.
Yeah, now in this case, radios.
Well, this raises other issues where we're in a situation where we're dependent on communists for a lot of the materials that go into this infrastructure. So we have a lot of resources in the United States. I would hope that we can find ways to extract resources, extract them safely and reliably and with concern for the environment, but don't rely on supply chains of our greatest global rival, the Chinese Communist Party.
Yeah. Exactly. We better take a short break. Keep those comments coming in. Obviously, as we said, it's been cathartic this morning. You can keep weighing in on Charlie Kirk. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Appreciate everybody who's sent in so far. But since Joe has come into the studio, we have some New York State issues and some federal issues. So we'll be right back after this. Stay with us. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking. That's our Frankly Speaking roof cam brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. In that studio, Assemblyman Joe Sempolinski. We got some comments from viewers here, Joe. The ban on natural gas is a way to be too intrusive and stinks of communism. Okay. Mark writes in, the Democrats are constantly calling Trump a dictator. But what is the difference when Hochul wants to get rid of natural gas and we have no choice?
Yeah, the energy stuff's gotten a lot of attention. This is something that I remember when...
Pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, if you remember where it was sort of floated getting rid of gas stoves a couple of years ago. At the time, I was my predecessor in the Assembly's chief of staff, and suddenly 80% of the phone calls we got into the Assembly office were... that's so-and-so.
Yeah,
right. The people used a little stronger language than that, but we're on, the public airwaves. Better not take my gas. So people really react to it. And I think where it comes from is in the Southern Tier, area I represent, the area in broadcasting here, people want me left alone.
Yeah.
Just let me
live my life.
And, my home is powered, heated by gas. I have a gas burner. Gas comes in, we burn it, and it goes through steam pipes through my house. And so I'd be certainly one of the people where if I had to convert to an electric situation, my home was built in 1860.
Yeah, so you got some update in the
there are older homes in Canisteo, but there are not a lot of them. I have an old one. And I would be personally on the higher end of the tens of thousands of dollars it would take to convert. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And have people, from downstate where the energy they use is as dirty gets. Yeah. Tell people upstate where we get most of our power from either hydro or nuclear.
Yeah.
How to live our lives it rubs people the wrong way, and it should. Yeah. It's gotten quite a reaction, and I'm proud to fulfill my role speaking for my constituents on this issue and go before the powers that be in the state and tell them exactly what the people that I am paid to represent think. Yeah. And that's my job. We have legislative functions, we have constituent service functions as an assembly member or a senator or a congressman or whatever. But the core of it, the reason that my vote has authority is I was chosen by the people. And so I take it seriously when I go to these public comment hearings. I'm not speaking for Joe Sempolinski. I'm speaking for 135,000 people in Steuben, Allegheny, and Cattaraugus counties.
Joe, this is a comment from a different viewer. We need Elise Stefanik, Joe. Can you talk to her about running for governor? Come on, Joe.
So I listen. I think very personal. This is just personally very highly of Elise as far as how she's interacted with me over the years. I first met her when she was first running for Congress. Whatever it was, a decade ago. Yeah. Was very impressed with her, and when I was nominated to be the Republican nominee in the special election in the summer of 22 for Congress, I didn't have to go looking for her for support. She called me.
Yeah.
She picked up the phone, called me, and said she was going to donate, and she was going to endorse me and tell people to support me and make sure I got on committees as member leadership, despite my short term. And she did all of that. She was very good to work with. I served on committee with her, the Education and Workforce Committee when I was in Congress. So all my personal interactions with Elise have been awesome. Yeah. And I will say I have been in contact with the Congresswoman. I've been in contact with the Congresswoman's staff. And I am certainly, we need a new governor.
Yes.
And I can't speak for Elise. I know she hasn't told me some secret timeline or something.
Just don't tell anybody.
Yeah, right. No, there's nothing like that.
But she has said herself, it's not if, it's when.
I was in the room.
Yeah.
I was in the room when she said that.
Yeah.
She said that in Buffalo at an event for Nick. And again, I've had direct interaction with her since then. And I spoke to her directly that day. So I think she would be a formidable candidate for governor. I think of the people that are considering running, she would give us the best chance to win. I think if she says she's doing it, she is our nominee,
hands down,
without any primary whatsoever.
Can I say
and
though,
when we have to have a new governor, so I would certainly welcome her entering the race, and I would also welcome the defeat of Governor Hochul in the next election.
I do want to talk about that comment she made at the black church. Did you see that?
Yeah, that was offensive.
Yes. Okay. Before that, let me ask you this, because people have asked this, and I think it's a serious question. So Elise Stefanik, when Mike Lawler dropped out, made it sound as if she was going to wait till after the elections in November to decide.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid. What happens if she says no after that? Then what will we do?
Yeah, that's a concern. I know there are other people thinking about it. There's talk about the Nassau County Executive, Mr. Blakeman, or whatever. And I don't think Bruce would primary Elise. I think if Elise says,
doesn't he have a re-election right now?
She does. Yeah, he's up for re-election.
Busy. Yeah.
So he's he's got a November timeline too. So I think it's if Elise says she's running, she's the candidate.
Yeah.
Period. And I think everybody on the Republican side will rally around her almost instantaneously. Mm-hmm. And I think she would have, and I don't know. I haven't talked to the president, but I would. The president already tried to put her in the cabinet, so I would assume that there's positive there. So, and
he convinced Lawler, he
endorsed Lawler for Congress, and Mike, and
2 years out, or whatever.
So, it looks like that maybe. Again, the only reason I'm hesitating is I don't want to get in front of her and say that, because she hasn't said yet. She hasn't said what she's doing. But I would say she is formidable. Mm-hmm. If you've watched any of the questioning she has done to either governors or university presidents, most of whom aren't university presidents anymore.
Exactly.
You'll be very impressed by her. Like I said,
she's in Hochul's mind.
She's in Hochul's head. There's no doubt about that, and she should be, because Hochul should be worried about Elise Stefanik. Elise Stefanik's an A-level political
She's got the name,
talent.
And she's the fundraising is
and what's different about Elise, and this is no negative toward Lee or Marcus or Carl or Mark or any of the folks that have been our previous nominees. When I'm out and about, we just had the question here on the air, but this happens when I'm out and about, just
more often
out
than not.
Doing things.
Yeah.
People come up to me and say, "Is Elise running?"
Yeah, what are you
going to do it? Yeah. And the level of, and I don't represent her district.
No.
She's in North Country. I'm Southern here. So it's not like, we're in her area or something. So on the other side of the state, grassroots people, base voter people staunch Republican people are coming up to me saying, "Is she doing it? Is she doing it? Is she doing it?" Yeah. So, like I said, I'm. If you're asking me, am I talking to Elise Stefanik? The answer is yes. I've been talking to Elise Stefanik.
Good.
And I think Elise Stefanik is really good.
Yeah. Good. So. But Hochul saying that. Well, so first of all, the reason I mention that because every time Hochul says something, it seems like Elise is responding.
Yeah,
which
good.
Is not, which is great. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, she's very good. Elise is great at that.
It sounds like she's campaigning. So Governor Hochul, if you don't know, I brought it up yesterday. She was at a largely black church, and I'm not sure what part of the state she was in. And she was talking about the inflation refund checks.
Yeah.
And she told the church not to go out and buy booze with their incoming state inflation refund checks. And I'd also add that made it not even worse than that. She said, buy food for your children.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a insult and a lecture.
Yeah.
It would be the end of most careers.
Yes.
Okay, we can agree.
So, that was very offensive, and the lieutenant governor didn't seem to like it.
No.
Who is her primary opponent, and the lieutenant governor is an African-American gentleman.
It reduces whole communities to harmful stereotypes and strips away the dignity of parents and children alike.
Yes.
Antonio Delgado.
Lieutenant governor.
Some people speculate that's who's in the costume of Frankie Focus. So he can still get the paycheck of being lieutenant governor.
Poor the lieutenant governor. I mean, he's down to apparently one staffer. She took his email address.
Yeah, I don't even know how you could do that.
I don't know if I've told this story on the air yet, but at one point I was walking through the 5th floor of the LOB, Legislative Office Building.
Yeah,
that's the floor where my office is.
Yeah.
It's just a random floor. It's not like it's the fancy floor.
Yeah,
from it. And I ran into Delgado. He was having a meeting in the hallway because he doesn't have an office.
He doesn't even have an office.
Like, at least I got an office.
Yeah,
like if you want to come see me, you
yeah.
548, come by. We got chairs. You can sit and talk. I got a desk. It's nice.
I feel
I have a window.
I love the fact that he's running against her.
Good. Yeah.
Good
for him.
And Stefanik has talked about it. I mean, I just think,
and good for Elise for how she is aggressive pushing back on the governor, and I'm all for it.
I've got to take a break, but I just think it goes, and I've said it a million times on this program, you can tell Kathy Hochul should have never been governor. That's why Andrew Cuomo picked her, because she wasn't a threat.
She's out of her
job. And she got lucky. Lee Zeldin, that was scary for her, though.
Yeah.
And so now Stefanik, get out of here. But we got to take a short break.
I think there's a good chance.
I hope so.
That's where it goes.
Cross your fingers. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking. The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. And in that studio, Assemblyman Joe Sempolinski. First of all, Joe, we got to talk about the mayor's race. We have a question here, and this is out of New York City. Joe, what's your take on Sliwa for mayor of New York City? Can he win? I truly hope so, since the rest of the candidates are, and I quote, lunatics.
Yes, the other candidates, you've got, a communist, a sociopath, and a criminal on the other three. Yeah. I'll let you figure out which one's which.
Yeah.
So I have met Mr. Sliwa, and I'll tell you my interaction. And this was springtime, so it was before the primary and everything. I was at a dinner in Albany, and he happened to be one table over from me.
Yeah.
And so he's working the room, and I'm working the room. We run into each other.
Ironically, you're both wearing berets.
No, I know. I can't pull off the beret the way Curtis does. And so we were sort of introduced by a mutual, friend. And I shook his hand. I looked him in the eye. I just said, "I pray to God you win." And that was he goes, "Thanks, man." That was my entire conversation with Mr. Sliwa. And so, I do hope of the four candidates, he's certainly the best choice. The front runner,
pretty, according to the polls, a heck of a front runner.
Yeah, and it's starting to look like even if there is a consolidation, it just makes it competitive. It's not like it's suddenly a slam dunk if it comes down to one candidate, whether that's Cuomo or Sliwa or Adams. So, this guy, I serve in the assembly with Assemblyman Mamdani.
Yeah.
How
many times have you met him?
I have never met. I was. We had like a mandatory, sexual harassment training Zoom that you got to be on as a state employee, and we were on the same one yesterday. So that's the closest I've come to talking to him, is we were on the same Zoom call.
Wow.
Briefly yesterday, but no, I've never met the guy. He doesn't show up much.
So what? He had one bill that got through last year, and he wasn't even there to vote on it.
Correct. Yes. It was at the end of session. He had one bill go through. Let's put it in perspective. He's been in the assembly 5 years in the majority. and I've been there 9 months in the minority. I think we've passed approximately the same number of bills within one of each other. So he's not a terribly serious legislator. But the positions he does hold, I think he does hold earnestly. And, the way I phrased it, I had a town hall meeting a couple weeks ago, a week and a half ago, whatever it was. And, I had a liberal individual in the crowd didn't like me very much, and that happens. But they said, why are you bashing? I was saying negative things about Mamdani. Why are you bashing Mamdani? And I said, if it walks like a communist and it quacks like a communist, it's probably a communist.
Right.
And, I mean, some of his positions are radical. I mean, some of the things he's talked about are very radical.
The anti-Semitic, well, for instance, Steve Kuzo has a piece at the New York Post today. Can Zohran Mamdani denounce Islamic terror this 9/11 anniversary without blaming the U.S. or Israel? And that's actually a fair question to ask.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what he says today as he handles things.
Because if you look at what he posts on his social media, it's copy and paste year to year.
Yeah.
There's a report out, I think it was on Empire.
Oh, does he use the same?
He uses the
post
same,
every year?
Yeah. And it's not like he's quoting someone else and he loves that quote. It's his own quote.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's not. He's quoting George W. or
some
something.
staff. I doubt that. Yeah. Some staffers going back and going, let's make it easy. Probably.
I mean, this is a guy. The mayor of New York City.
Yeah.
Is the most important local official on the planet.
Yeah.
And this guy is not anywhere near at that level. Now, the one positive thing to tie it back to our last segment, I think Mr. Mamdani may be the worst thing that ever happened in New York City. He may be the best thing that ever happened in New York State because the mayor of New York City is still a local mayor, and a lot of what they have to do goes through the state legislature. So it makes, whether it's my friend Elise or anybody else is the Republican nominee for governor, it's a very easy argument to make, like, hey, let's assume this guy wins. If you want to block his agenda, the key is to have a Republican governor. So I think
that's a good point.
If there's a victory for Mamdani in November 25, it significantly increases the likelihood of a victory for a Republican governor in 2026 because there will be a freak out. People will lose their mind if this guy becomes a mayor, and the exact people that will freak out are the exact people that need to come home to the Republican Party to allow a Republican to become governor of the state of New York.
I don't know how true it is about kind of Trump playing behind the scenes to get Adams out. I hope not, because we don't need Cuomo. Listen, I understand the reason why you want Cuomo there. Let that all work out.
Yeah, I understand the math of it, but gosh, Cuomo is.
Yeah, I know you.
Cuomo's no better. No. I mean,
just different.
He's just a different type of awful.
It's just something crazy about Mamdani being like the face of the Democrat Party now.
Yeah, he is, and he will be, and he will have to own that.
Yeah,
and I think there is a significant upside to that if making this lunatic the head of the Democratic Party.
I think it was interesting because he had that forum or whatever the other day, and there was a Democrat strategist after the forum who said it goes to show that charm can't answer questions. You know what I mean? You got where you are because you have this kind of charm.
You can be really good in like a 30-second TikTok clip that's heavily edited. Cut. You know, anybody can do that.
Yeah. All right, we got to take our last break. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox.
Your tap water is delicious.
I know, right? It's this Culligan Smart drinking water system.
What do you think is going on in there?
I'm smelling a touch of chlorine.
Yeah, I'm detecting some PFAS.
I'm also getting notes of lead.
Perfection.
Sending it up.
Here we go.
Certified to reduce more than 70 contaminants. It's like having your own team of water experts. See the smart difference at Culligan.com.
Stu Bailey Office for the Aging will be hosting a public hearing on Thursday, September 18th at First Presbyterian Church in Bath. This hearing is to review the 2026 annual implementation plan for the Older Americans Act and the Steuben County Office for the Aging. This public hearing will take place at 9 a.m. on Thursday, September 18th in the Fellowship Hall of the First Presbyterian Church in Bath. Copies of the plan will be available at the Office for the Aging.
If you have one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant financial compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer. If you used hair relaxers and have been diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call us now. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call today.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hasselson studio. In that studio, Joe Sempolinski. Joe, I've got to ask, because at first I think the answer would have been no, but now that you've got the excerpts from it, will you be reading, what's it called, 107 or 109? I'm bad with numbers. 107, the former Vice President Kamala Harris's book.
Well, I should write 112. That's how long I was in college.
Oh, yeah. Did you spend $2 billion?
No.
Let's make that clear.
For the record, I didn't trade any stocks.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
she's calling it reckless, and it was weird because she said something to the extent of like, it shouldn't have been left up to somebody's ego. But isn't that kind of what she admitted that she did with her ego by not daring to tell him or anybody? It's a weird, typical Harris answer.
She's got it. She's in the same conundrum that she describes in the excerpt.
Yeah.
Which is, if you start, bashing the guy, well, then there begs the question: if this is such a real big problem that you saw this guy was incompetent,
where were you?
Shouldn't you have done the right thing and told everybody?
Yeah.
But it was self-serving or whatever. And so she's got to spin it,
and she has to put it in, or there's no books.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Right. So she's, she's in the same conundrum that meant that she couldn't win the presidency, which is what a shame.
I just couldn't believe it because they said that the people that surround Biden were almost threatening. Did you read that in the Post? So this is a while ago. If you throw Joe under the bus, we're going to come out with the unflattering. I hate this term. They called it Palin-esque, which I think that's such an overrated thing by Democrats because I think she got more votes for McCain than McCain did. But anyway, we don't need to go down that rabbit hole. But if you look at it, they were saying that we'll make her look embarrassed and bad. She kind of did that herself.
Yeah, she kind of did that herself just because she's not a very good candidate.
She got ahead of it too,
this, sort of blame game going on where nobody wants to be the one that cost the Democrats the presidency. And I think there's plenty of blame to go around. Do I think it was wise for Biden to stay in the race as long as he did? No, that was what he should have done. Is probably the day after the midterm say I'm not running and allowed for a real primary as opposed to a coronation that happened. Harris was not a good candidate.
No.
As you pointed out, they spent gargantuan sums of money, and it went. It's like they lit it on fire. It didn't move voters at all. So the people that were around Biden did a bad job. Biden did a bad job. Harris did a bad job. The people around Harris did a bad job. The Democratic Party was sort of exposed as there are no political geniuses behind the curtain.
No,
here.
Exactly.
They still haven't figured out why they lost. They still haven't just decided, hey, let's be normal.
Right.
That's as simple as it is. If they stopped acting like normal people and they called us weird.
Yeah, exactly. That was their famous line.
The governor of Minnesota's
Walls. How soon you forget, Joe?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
what was his name again? You know
Walls.
what I mean?
Yeah, that guy. Whatever.
The manly man or whatever.
Yeah, that's right. He's going to appeal to
the alpha male or whatever.
Come on. Yeah. So, they really had no idea what they were doing. They still have no idea what they're doing. And the book shows, or at least the excerpt, I'm sure I will not buy the book, that they still can't figure out. They're more worried about who to blame than figuring out how to win the next election. So, as a Republican,
I'll let you figure it out.
When the Democrats are in flummox mode, that don't bother me none.
No. So, hey, Joe, because we've talked about everything else. How's things going at the local level? It's getting that time of year.
So it is a local election year. We have contested races. We've got contested city council contested race in the city of Corning. We've got several city council races in Hornell. We've got a couple county legislative races in the southeast Steuben area, so not in the city of Corning, but surrounding the city of Corning, so town of Corning, town of Hornby, town of Caton, town of Irwin. So I'm very pleased with the candidates we've got. They're working hard, and I would encourage folks, even though it is an off year, what happens at 25 sets the table for the 26, which sets the table for 28. So we do need people to remember to get out and vote, and there are a lot of local town races too as well. So a lot of local officials that are on the ballot, and again the top contested races are in the two cities and in the towns surrounding the city of Corning. But no matter where you are, get out to vote, because we're going to have judge races that cover the entire Steuben County. And we need to get the votes from Steuben County out to counter the votes coming out of the city of Rochester for our Supreme Court judges. So if you're within the sound of my voice, I encourage you to get out and vote all the way down the Republican ticket, and you will not be disappointed.
No. Before we go, Joe, I want to thank you, and I want to thank all the viewers. I think at least this last segment was kind of a nice, last couple segments was nice to kind of get our mind off of the day. Not just, of course, remember the 24th anniversary of 9/11. It's amazing to think when you see a 24-year-old walk by that they don't remember. You know, I mean, people in the New York Fire Department working there that weren't even born.
Right.
It's amazing. So it's something to remember. Of course, I hope we see everybody over in Irwin at 11 o'clock. But also, of course, because of the tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk. If you're just joining us, the person of interest was released last night. Gunman's still at large. I just checked before we went back on the air. It's a tough day anyway on 9/11, but this is one for conservatives and people that even follow politics. I would hope that everybody can take a moment. I know this is what you're not supposed to say, but offer thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, I would say, God bless Charlie. I know he's in a better place, and we pray for him, and we pray especially for his wife and his kids. Man, that's
heartbreaking. Rough. And I mean, the fact coming off the heels of that debate that people had where you couldn't say thoughts and prayers, which I thought, not to turn this political, but which is another non-winning position to take.
Right, yeah.
When
you come out against prayer.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is a time, and I know Vance said it, and so many people said it, talk about a time where I hope people realize why we say thoughts and prayers.
I mean, I'll be honest. When I knew he had been shot, but before he died, I prayed for him to
Me too.
live.
100%.
I know that millions of other people around the country are lifting up Charlie and his family in prayer right now.
The New York Post had two pieces. One was Charlie Kirk was all about debate. This killing is an attack on free speech itself. And I agree. And Miranda Devine, and this is something we're going to have the conversation about if we're going to be serious. Charlie Kirk's assassination is the latest case that the U.S. is suffering from an epidemic of leftist violence. And I think it's a conversation. If we're going to have, they always say we need to start the conversation.
I served in Congress with Steve Scalise.
Yeah.
The man still walks with a limp from surviving an assassination attempt, and that was very nearly 15 members of Congress that were killed. If Steve's security detail hadn't been there, you would have had a significant portion of the Republican caucus and the Congress wiped out. So this isn't the first incident within very recent memory.
Well, Joe, thanks for being on the show. Thank you again to everybody who sent in. I hope you let us be a distraction for you for a moment on what is going to be a very difficult day and a very difficult, a while, we'll put it that way. So, Joe, thanks for being on the show, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Frank.
All right. Join us tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.